Good morning, everybody, and a happy Friday morning to you. Harry and Meghan have been caught in a bold-faced lie, and I got the proof. You know me, if I say it, I prove it. But before we get in, I have another message. Let's cover that, and then let's get busy. Hey, guys. I'm on my last day of steroids and antibiotics, and my face is swelling up from the steroids. Okay, so I'm not going to be discussing Harry and Meghan on Saturday. However, you know, when you talk about him, he manifests. And I talked the other day in my live about Christopher Boozy, and he's back in the news. So that's what my video is going to be on. For those of you who are new to the channel, you're going to want to watch. We're going to do a little bit of a recap of what happened, and then we're going to cover the new news. It's just, so that's what I'll be covering on Saturday. So Harry and Meghan might figure in that much, but it's really not about them. It's about Christopher Boozy. So we're going to cover that. And then I'll be back on Monday with my regular news. All right, let's go. We're going to start off with Mike Tindle. Do you guys remember that he wrote that book with his friends Alex Payne and James Haskell, Unleashed? They've also got the podcast, The Good, the Bad, and the Rugby. Well, they've written another book. This is supposed to be the highs, the heartbreak, the hangovers, the personal, the vulnerable, and the downright absurd. It promises to give an intimate account of the author's most treasured days in rugby. You're definitely going to want to read this book. All right, let's move on. We have the Queen. We know what a passionate advocate she is for literature and literacy, and she joined a group of shortlisted authors and former winners to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Women's Prize for Fiction at Bedford Square. Now, this is taking place ahead of the awards ceremony, which is going to happen the next day. The Queen hailed the founders of the Book Award for transforming the literary landscape for women. She said that it brought the female voice from the margins of the literary world to its very center. The Women's Prize Trust creates opportunities for women writers at all stages of their careers. And remember, this was the significant anniversary. She actually met the first winner of this award. And don't forget, Queen Camilla is very passionate and she's very big on literary causes. She wants people to read and she appreciates the joy of reading. Love it. Let's move on. Next up, we have Edward, the Duke of Edinburgh. He went to visit Elstree Studios because they're having their centenary celebrations. For those of you who don't know, this is where Star Wars and Indiana Jones and all of those were filmed. Pretty cool. It was also the first set of BBC Serial One drama EastEnders. And so Edward was there to meet executive producers and senior production managers. And sometimes, I'm telling you, he's got a good job, let me tell you. And some pictures came out of William attending the Duchy of Cornwall Prince's Council meeting in Windsor this past Monday. All I can say is, hubba, hubba, Mr. Hunky Dunky. Next up, let's move on to King Charles. He received Alexandra, and I cannot pronounce her last name. I'm just going to say M. She's Alexandra M., head of the Center for Civil Liberties at Buckingham Palace. All right, next up was King Charles. I think this is really nice. King Charles had a private reunion for some old shipmates from when he served in the Royal Navy. I think that's pretty cool. So he brought together some of the people that he served with when he was really young, as well as representatives from associated naval organizations. Remember, he started his career in the Royal Navy in 1971 when he was 22 years old, following in the steps of, Prince Philip and then his grandfather and both his great-grandfathers. He was an acting sub-lieutenant when he joined an accelerated graduates course at Britannia Royal Naval College. And then 2 months later, he was posted to the guided missile destroyer HMS Norfolk, and then to the frigates HMS Minerva and HMS Jupiter. And, he had a full naval career. He became a gunnery officer. He qualified as a helicopter pilot. He flew with the Naval Air Squadron. So do I think that they could have gotten together, sat down, and told some salty tales? Yes, I do. Ooh, wouldn't you have liked to have been a fly on the wall? Let's move on. All right, we know that on Saturday we have Trooping the Color. The ceremony starts at 10:30 a.m. It finishes at 12:25 p.m. with the fly pass that takes place around 1 p.m. They don't yet have the map for the flyover, and each year a different regimental color or flag is trooped, and members of the 5 Foot Guards regiments take turns with it to lead the parade. So at the start of the ceremony, the king is going to go down the mall. Then he'll be greeted by a royal salute. They have the 41 gun salute. Then he will inspect his troops. Then the regiment will march past Charles before the king's troop, Royal Horse Artillery, and the sovereign's escort of the household cavalry will ride past. Then he will return to Buckingham Palace where he will join the other people on the balcony. It's going to be great. You're not going to want to miss it. Next up, we've got some more investitures. William held his 4th investiture at Windsor Castle, and this marks the 16th of the royal family for 2025. Now, these may not be in the correct order, so bear with me. Names and faces, I mean. You have Lena Nair from London, who was made a Commander of the Order of the British Empire. You have Miss Anne Marie Duff, who's an actor, who was made an Order of the British Empire for services to drama. You have Miss Dawn Astle, who is from the Jeff Astle Foundation, made a member of the Order of the British Empire, recognizing services to footballers with dementia. You have Mr. David Moyes, the lately manager of West Ham United Football Club, who's made an Order of the British Empire for services to football. And of course, there were more fabulous, deserving people getting honors. I'm not going to tell you that I understand how they get nominated for these or, what they're doing, but I think it's fabulous that people are recognized for their hard work. They do it because they don't expect to be recognized. All right, let's move on. All right, next up, this fabulous picture of Princess Anne popped up. She was at the Cayley, which is the Royal Caledonian Horticultural Society that promotes and supports Scottish gardening since 1809. Anyway, Anne is the patron, and she went to open their new teaching glass house. So lovely photo. All right, next up, this story came out, and I thought, my God, he's getting his advice from Harry and Meghan. Brooklyn Beckham, it's being reported, told his family he wants no contact with them, if you can believe that. Remember, he's a Nepo baby. He's a wannabe chef. He and his wife really don't have jobs. They just live off the billionaire money of her father. Now, a source close to Brooklyn denied the claims, but Brooklyn told his family he wants no contact, and he's not responding to anybody who tries to get in touch with him. We know David Beckham is going to be getting a knighthood. It was announced last week, but it is being reported that Brooklyn has had no communication since that announcement came out, and he learned of the news in the media alongside the rest of the world. So, I don't get it. If Brooklyn Beckham is saying that this isn't true, then come out yourself and say it's not true. Stop sending sources, turning into another Harry and Meghan wannabe people. It's just like crazy stuff. You know what I mean? All right, let's move on to our Harry and Meghan stuff for today. Let's not forget that in July of 2024, Birmingham, UK, we know what's going on with the town. It's bankrupt. They've shut off all their services. There's trash piling up in the street. And yet, this is where the Invictus Games are supposed to be, the 10th through the 17th of July. And Harry has now come out and said, absolutely, I'm going to be there. Even though I lost my security battle, I'm going to be there. The question is Meghan going to go? Remember, the UK is too unsafe. So is she going to go, or is she going to miss her chance to prance around in designer clothing? You got to wonder. All right, let's move on to this. I just wanted to touch on this really quickly. We know that Meghan started as ever. It ran for about, 45 minutes. And then she said she was going to take a step back, and she gave an interview to a U.S. business outlet where she said she might not be restocking. Then we found out that Netflix was furious and said, no, you don't do that. And so suddenly she's going to be restocking again, okay? Then it came out that she's going to open hotels, and she's going to do this, and she's going to do that. And it's just complete chaos. So people, again, with their polls, people love these polls. Would you stay in a Meghan Markle hotel, which we know would be nothing but beige? And the overwhelming response was no. If nobody likes you, it's really hard to run a business. And thank you to Kylie for this picture, because I think this is exactly what it is right there. All right, one more thing before we get to our final story. Thank you to Resting Dollface for this. Meghan Markle actually merched the shoes that she was wearing while she was at Disney. What does that tell you? Really? Probably contacted them and said, you can put this up and let them know I'm wearing your shoes. All right, let's move on to our last story. Okay, here we go, you guys. We know that when Harry and Meghan got married in 2018, she had a plan. Yes, I see the picture above. She had guests that were all A-listers. Remember, Amal and George Clooney, Oprah Winfrey. There were ulterior motives to inviting these people. She was trying to recruit them into her inner circle. These are people that before she met Harry wouldn't have given her the time of day. The Clooneys admitted that they did not know Harry and Meghan when they went to the wedding. And although Amal went to the baby shower, after the baby shower, she distanced herself immediately from Meghan Markle. And what about Oprah? Oprah did the interview, which went so badly for Oprah, she pulled it from the web. We know what happened with the Beckhams. She was trying to cut Harry off. Meghan was from everybody, but cutting him off from the Beckhams, as it turns out, was a massive, massive mistake. So when she had her cooking show, we expected to see Mariah Carey and Paris Hilton and Serena Williams and maybe Oprah and the Clooneys, all these people she tried to recruit as her inner circle. And of course, we didn't see any of them because as soon as people really got to know her and Harry and saw the way they were treating the royal family, everybody dumped her off as quickly as possible. When Harry and Meghan were still with the royal family, we found out that they were in talks with Quibi, a now defunct streaming service. And when that didn't work out, they started talking to Oprah and there was some discussion about Netflix. Well, let me tell you, Harry and Meghan said it themselves in their own docuseries. They were caught. They claimed they wanted to stay in the royal family. They wanted to work for the Queen, but it just wasn't working out. But their own words betrayed that they lied. So listen to this.
The family and their people knew that we were trying to find a different way of working for a minimum of 2 years. Minimum.
So that's right out of Harry's mouth. We were looking for a different way to do things for a minimum of 2 years. Problem is they were married May 19th of 2018 and they stepped back January of 2020. They weren't even there married for 2 years before they stepped back. So that tells you that this had been a plan from the get-go. So the next thing that happened was something that Meghan said, which was so hypocritical. I want you to listen to this.
So we were flying back from Vancouver straight to Heathrow. And so right as we're getting on the plane, this urgent message comes through to H saying, you are not allowed to go and see Her Majesty. Make sure that your principal is aware. He cannot go and see her. And she's busy. She has plans all week.
I was like, well, that's certainly the opposite to what she had told me. Once we were back in the UK, I rang her and I said, I'm now told that you're busy. And she goes, yes, I didn't know that I was busy. I've been told that I'm busy. I've actually been told that I'm busy all week. I was like, wow.
And I remember looking at H and going, my gosh, this is when a family and a family business are in direct conflict. Because they're blocking you from seeing the Queen. But really what they're doing is blocking a grandson from seeing his grandmother.
I have no doubt that the hypocrisy of that statement out of Meghan Markle's mouth is not lost on everybody, as she has blocked her father and King Charles from seeing her children. She and Harry both have been holding them back as bargaining chips. She's got a lot of nerve. I mean, are you kidding me? I'm sure everybody who heard that statement, I'm sure their hackles went up going, what? Oh my goodness. Okay, you guys, you know what to do. Hit the like and the subscribe button. If you've already subscribed, double check, make sure you're still subscribed. Then you go down into the description box where you'll find the links to my Twitter, Gettr, Rumble, email, my second channel, a link to my Amazon wish list, and a physical address. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.